Yeah! I love it when a plan comes together. That is a massive hint.
That's a very big hint.
A very big hint. And finally, chips. Sorry. There's nothing I can. Fish and chips. There we go.
There we go.
That'll properly red herring you all. With that in mind, welcome to the Lazarus and Dangerfield show. As always, this roller coaster ride of meaningless, senseless nothingness that is the Earth.
Wow,
brings it full circle. It does. But we've come full circle, and here we are. The show of all shows, the cherry on the top of the proverbial Bakewell tart, if you like them.
Who doesn't love a good Bakewell tart?
There's going to be people who are like, what the hell is a Bakewell tart? And everyone's going to be Googling it now.
Well, they need to leave.
Don't Google it. Watch the video. Welcome to the Buck Lazarus and Clint Dangerfield show. As always, I'm here in the Twilight Zone with Mr. Clint Dangerfield.
What a good week of movies we've got. I enjoyed all the movies this week.
That was a ridiculously long intro.
I
hope you enjoyed it. Good. Yes. What is going on in the world of TV, Mr. Dangerfield?
I have no idea. I haven't had any time lately to watch barely any TV, especially as I did watch the Zack Snyder Justice League.
Oh, yes. That literally fills up.
Oh my God, that was a long movie.
And that is a great answer considering we run a YouTube channel about entertainment. But no, yeah, tell me about the Schneider Cut because I have heard so much about the Schneider.
Okay.
Snyder.
So
how am I saying that? Schneider.
Zack
Snyder.
No, Snyder. He's not German.
Schneider. Schnell. That's good.
Yeah, I won't go into it.
I've gone full German now. Even though we're banned in Germany.
Probably will be now.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. I won't go into like a full review of it or anything. Plenty of other places that go in depth and know the DC world in depth. I don't about the DC world, to be honest. I just watched it because I like watching movies. And obviously curious.
You like DC though?
I don't mind DC. I'm not fussed about DC.
I'm a big AC fan. AC Slater.
Oh God, fair enough. So where was I before I was rudely interrupted? I can't remember. Something about Justice League. It happened. Yeah, so I watched it obviously because I'd seen the first one and hated the first one. I just didn't enjoy that first one. And the bizarre thing is, watching this one, I had no recollection of anything from the first theatrical cut at all.
Really?
Which is like really weird. Because normally, if you watch a film that you haven't seen in a very, very long time, you kind of forgotten you've seen it. Yeah. You kind of always get those. Oh yeah, I remember this bit. And
we kind of had this discussion last week, didn't we?
But Justice League, no, nothing. I don't remember anything from the actual cut.
So I heard the interesting thing was his daughter died during the making of this film,
which is why he left the project. Yeah.
Yeah.
But certainly, it is definitely more moving.
Yeah.
Than the theatrical for me, anyway. I do remember just not liking that original Joss Whedon version. But this one, after 4 hours, I was like, yeah, okay, that was a good movie.
Again, the Joss Whedon, didn't he like just rewrite stuff constantly all the time and just be
I'm glad
it's never good.
I'm glad I've seen it. I won't be watching it again. It's just not that type of movie for me, and there were definitely parts of that absolutely dragged in it, but that's because of the length of time. But then there were plenty of parts that were really, really good.
Sure.
So it was a very long watch, but yeah, enjoyable for the most part.
For me, I obviously saw the first one. If you don't know Justice League, DC, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Batman, all of them. It's like the Avengers, but the DC universe all come together. Now, I like the casting of Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he's been a good Superman. I thought Man of Steel was probably the best Superman film since Christopher Reeves. Wonder Woman, just Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. She's just, and I don't love Wonder Woman. I didn't enjoy the first one. I think it's highly overrated, but 1984 is great, and I would recommend anyone to see 1984, the sequel. Again, better casting, a better story, but Justice League and what represents these characters, I just didn't enjoy. Other than Henry Cavill and Aquaman. I love, and going back to Game of Thrones again, he was in Game of Thrones. Jason Momoa. Yeah, he again, great actor. Brilliant in Game of Thrones, and I can watch him as an Aquaman. But Ben Affleck Batman and the rest of them, I gotta disagree.
I really enjoy Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yeah,
I think it's really good. I think it's a really good portrayal of that character, and there's been so many different portrayals.
I know it's a different, and I know he was going for a different, and it's a different canon. It's like, James Garfield's got Spider-Man versus the current Spider-Man. They are two different. It's Amazing Spider-Man and
I think Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The more
so it's with Mary Jane and obviously Gwen Stacy, the different Spider-Man cat. So I understand but yeah, I didn't enjoy him as Batman.
That's fair enough.
But and also I did see that awful film with Will Smith and Jared Leto and the rest of them.
Oh, Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Awful.
So to be fair, it did start well, but it was just when you have a supermodel as your main bad guy, it's just going to be, you need some heavyweight. You need a heavyweight in that. Jared Leto would have been the better bad guy. I just don't understand why they didn't go with that. So anyway, I digress.
I mean, the new one is looking pretty good.
Yeah.
The James Gunn.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with that, really, can you?
James Gunn, by the way, people, if you... today I feel like we're going to have to just explain everything, but everything, we're not idiots, this is why we watch the show. But James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy, need I say more? Those films are great. If you haven't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy, if it was one, well, I watched Iron Man, I watched Captain America. Guardians are, I guess, brilliant. They're up there with Deadpool. If you want your comedic value, they are just genius. Laughs all the way.
It's really good, yeah. They are really good.
Don't take themselves too seriously, which is very good. Anyway, in my world, I'm tuning in and out of stuff at the moment. So I'm trying to catch lots of shows. I mentioned the Pirates one.
Yeah.
Looks good. Interesting. Obviously, pirates being fun. Not the Captain Phillips Pirates, look at me, I'm the captain style, but more the matey. And I'm watching one about Biggie, so I'm... Oh
yeah, that's on Netflix, yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, basically his friend kind of documented his life, and it's quite interesting. I've always loved biographies. I like reading about people, and being the big hip-hop fan I'm a huge music fan, everything. Even country, actually, I have to say this, even country, but everything. So, but love hip hop. Find it very interesting, the origin of it. Not saying I would. Anyway, I'm not going to get into a whole music thing, but no, it was interesting. Yeah,
we could go off in a whole tangent about music.
But I wanted to talk about Top Gear, though. Top Gear.
Go for it.
So, Top Gear is a show I've watched literally since I was a little boy. With my father, we used to watch it on a Sunday night. If you're not familiar with Top Gear, I think it's quite self-explanatory in the title, but it's about cars. So it was a serious show. It was a very serious show that used to have Jeremy Clarkson.
In the very early days.
Jeremy Clarkson and Quentin Wilson, who is an ex-car dealer, and I forget the name of the guy, but he was an ex-Formula 3 driver, and someone's going to remind me of him. But it was a serious car show, and they reviewed cars, and they reviewed everyday cars. They'd obviously put in the new supercar, but then BBC just had this revamp, and you got James May and Richard Hammond and Jeremy Clarkson, and it just became this crazy show that was
very entertaining.
Yeah, it was pure entertainment. It is. It's less about, like, they're not going to be reviewing the brand new Nissan Micra anymore. It's going to be the brand new Lamborghini Sian, as it was this week.
Cars that are all achievable.
Exactly. But whilst falling out of a helicopter or being shot out or just being like, I remember in one stage shooting Robin Reliant into space. Anyway, long story short, this week was about cars with your dad or your dad's first car. So I'm curious, actually, or not necessarily your dad's first car, because I know what my dad's first car, but the car you remember growing up in. And obviously I lost my father, and all the presenters, their fathers weren't there. So all of them had these nostalgic memories of their dad's car, and I just thought it was quite an interesting episode. And it's been going for 30 years.
Yeah,
there's obviously longevity to it. But just curious, Mr. Dangerfield, what was the car you grew up that you remember the most, your dad's car?
The one I remember from my childhood the most, I can't remember what model it was. I know it was a Renault, but I don't know what model it was, but it was like a two-tone grey. At the bottom half of the car was a kind of light silvery grey, and the top half of the car was a very dark, very, very dark grey, not quite black, very, very dark. So it was like this two-tone. But I don't know which model it was.
How old were you when you had that?
I was young. It's definitely young. So in the years before I was 10, definitely.
So elementary, school. Yeah. So my dad had, and the Americans are gonna have to Google this. We didn't have fun cars like you guys get. So we had a Vauxhall Viva, which was a 70s car and probably the 90s. Yeah. But it on paper looks cool. There's some nice curves, I would say, to it. It's a very square car, but it had these which you don't get that nowadays. Bonnets are flat. But it had like an arch in the middle of the bonnet. It was American-esque, but it wasn't cool. So and I had to Google it after. But yeah, I just Top Gear is a show I still enjoy, and I think the new cast of it really sort of
they did a Bond episode. Didn't they?
Yeah, they did the best Bond cars. So
which
I'm still getting around to watching.
But you can buy an Aston Martin, like the original
DB5 and DB6.
Yeah, you can buy so you can now buy it, so it's fully kitted out. It's not road legal, but you can now buy
guns and ejector seat.
Yeah,
nice. Needs to be done.
And it's like £3.5 million, I think.
See, I always loved one of my favourite Bond cars. If we're going down that route, is the Aston Martin from the Timothy Dalton film Living Daylights, and that was a Vantage, very square but just great looking car. They had that, I believe they had that on Top Gear this week as well. Actually, I didn't see a clip of it, but just great looking car. Nice. But we could literally do an episode on Bond as it is, because there's enough of them, and we do that. It would be good. I would love to. We need to rate them. I think it'd be quite easy, actually, some of them. But so the reason why you all tuned in, what we're here for, movies. This week we have a goodie in store for you, definitely.
Oh yeah.
What do we have in store, Mr. Dangerfield?
We went back and decided to watch movie remakes of 80s TV shows. And
we literally went back
in time.
Back in time. We took a DeLorean.
Anyway,
we literally took a DeLorean.
I would. Right. So this week we decided to go back and watch movie remakes of 80s TV shows. So we will be going through the 18, Chips, and the Dukes of Hazzard.
So, whilst there are many other great TV shows from that period, we grew up with these. That is an indication to just how prehistoric we are. It also shows how awesome we are, because when I talk to people about this stuff and they're like, what the hell are you talking about? It means you haven't lived, quite literally. Another thing, like literally, another thing is there are obviously other TV shows around at the same time that can rival this. You've got
Baywatch.
Baywatch, a little later, but yeah, Baywatch. But Baywatch they did make a movie of, but it kind of doesn't tie in. It doesn't have the same kind of theme. But Street Hawk, Knight Rider, to a certain extent, The Fall Guy. But they were kind of all this sort of very action, quite bravado, isn't it? Very macho, manly shows. And then to the sort of earlier stage, and I'm definitely too early for this, but Starsky and Hutch.
But I am not old enough for that.
Yeah, but Starsky and Hutch was a series show, was after the Watershed, I believe. And yeah, it was a bit too early for us. They did make a movie of it. It was a comedy. We can do a whole thing on that. It's quite an interesting one, but we grew up with these. Knight Rider, there has been no decent movie yet. Airwolf, again. Again. So these are it. CHiPS being the latest. So where should we start?
I reckon start with the A-Team.
Start with the A-Team. Okay.
Go with
cool.
the A-Team.
This is a hard one to start with, actually. You really, really, as they say, crapped out here. But no, it is a hard one. It is a hard one. I would say of the three, this is definitely the bar is the highest. It's because to be honest, I was looking at ratings of the show and they were all very highly rated shows, but the A-Team is very well revered.
Yeah.
Mr. T was a world star. Hannibal was a proper actor,
Yeah.
He's been in loads of movies. I think this casting was a tough one to follow. What did you think?
I remember not liking it the first time I watched it when it came out.
Really?
I just didn't enjoy it. This time round, I enjoyed it more. It's a good action film. I really like Bradley Cooper as Faith. I think he just works really well. And the same with what's his name? Sholto Copley, however you pronounce it. He played Murdoch. I thought he was fantastic. I didn't like Liam Neeson as Hannibal, though. He was way too Liam Neeson-y. It just for me it didn't fit.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. But I mean generally, and I can't remember his name, but what was it? Hold on, I've got it here. Quentin Rampage, who played BA. I think he played it well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an incredibly hard role to film. So
I completely agree with you. It's B.A. Baracus. It's Mr. T. He's an icon. This is like we say, but like Hulk Hogan or
they did ask
even
Mr.
like
T,
David Hasselhoff.
They did ask Mr. T to cameo in the film, and he would only cameo if he could play Mr. T. If he could play his character.
Version of it. I'm seeing visions of Star Trek. Was it the second one with
First Contact?
But the second of the new versions. With, Zachary Quinto, where he meets Leonard Nimoy. Yeah, where he meets Leonard Nimoy. I'm seeing visions of this with Quentin Jackson being a future Mr. T and being like, "I am the future. You look at me. I'm pitiful. I'm still saying that line."
But equally,
that's my catchphrase. Don't forget it.
This equally, who was it who played? Dirk Benedict, who played Face.
Yeah.
In the original, he obviously cameoed. You would have seen him talking to Bradley Cooper in a scene, and it turns out afterwards he deeply regrets doing that cameo, and he's refused to watch the movie because it didn't do so well at the box office.
Yeah,
which I thought was very funny. But...
Well, it's funny because so they did a TV show called Bring Back the A-Team with I'm not going to say, I don't really need to say the name of the guy, Didick. He's not got any problems. But the show was entertaining. But it was interesting because obviously Hannibal, who escapes me and a freaking George Peppard. Isn't with us anymore. And Mr. T refused to go. So it was literally like everyone at Dwight Schultz.
He did make it.
Everyone was there.
Did you see his cameo in the movie Dwight Schultz?
No, I didn't see Dirk Benedict either.
He was. It was when Bradley Cooper came out the tanning. He went in whilst they're in prison. He goes to a tanning booth. He's got. And the guy that comes out of the tanning booth is Dirk Benedict, the original face.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? I need to rewatch this. Clearly an Easter egg.
And then Dwight Schultz is in it when Murdoch is, I think he's getting brain fried. He's getting electric shock treatment. Dwight Schultz is one of the doctors behind the screen.
Sure.
Him to up the.
I definitely need to rewatch these. I miss these Easter eggs. So I love the A-Team. Me and Mr. Dangerfield were discussing this the other day. I was talking about how they changed the intro, and if you weren't ever aware of this, they updated halfway through the original one. They had Robert Vaughn come in from Man from Uncle fame, and he was like kind of like the new boss, and it was just a modernized version of it. A-Team was a show I seldom missed as a child. I had the toys. I still have one of the massive vans. I've got the annuals. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. So yeah, as I said, huge bar. You're completely right. Face, as I think, was perfect casting, and I genuinely, when I heard that Bradley Cooper was going to be involved with the project, I don't think there would be a better Face.
Yeah.
In terms of Murdoch, again, much like T, these are two characters that were very hard to cast. Now, I think Quentin Jackson did do well. This film isn't ever going to win any awards for acting. No. It wasn't the point of it. For entertainment value, though, it was fun. It was a bit. I've heard this a lot. The review of this, overkill. And there was a lot more of this. Things I'd like to have seen before. I like their planning, but the whole thing about the A-Team was their planning. Like literally they'd be like, oh, I've got a toilet roll. Oh, I found a spring from a bed. Now I have a machine gun. And it was a bit like MacGyver in that sense, where they could make anything out of anything and it was a weapon. Think like Arena Wars on GTA or Carmageddon or anything like that. Whatever they put together, it's going to do some serious damage. People are going to fall off buildings. Cars are going to turn over. It's going to be kablamo. And there wasn't a lot of that in this movie, other than the guy firing a saw at a container ship, which still doesn't make sense to me.
It's just ridiculous. It was insane.
I'm not going to say more on that. Let's move on. Dukes.
The Dukes of Hazzard. So,
the Dukes. Yeah.
The Dukes.
The Dukes.
Yeah, just another fun film for me. Yeah.
So Sean William Scott, 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks Can he redeem himself?
And a much better William Scott, much more classic version of him. Yeah, I don't have a lot of fondness for the TV series. And this is obviously very different.
Yeah.
They did actually. I looked it up. They asked the original cast to cameo in the film, and they read the screenplay, hated it, and refused to cameo. So they're not in it.
Wow, interesting factoid. That's good because it obviously for me watching I didn't grow up. I grew up watching this, but I don't remember it. So, at all. That was the crazy thing. I remember the jumps. I don't think you ever forget the jumps. But I don't remember. I remember Bo Duke, of course. And I remember Luke. And I have the annual of this. I have the General Lee car still. grew up, but I don't remember watching it. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed this one. I thought it was fun.
It's just a fun, silly movie.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous and over the top, and just a nice, easy watch.
They're stupid though. Yeah, right. They are stupid. Are they? But I think they act up like, I don't know what it is with Sean Scott playing stupid, but then again, he's a great drummer. Do you know the things I found interesting about this film was, now this was 2006, I believe, and again, how times change. Now this sounds crazy. That's 15 years.
That's madness.
I'm doing math. That is madness. Absolute madness. Because I remember coming out and watching this in the cinema. Oh my gosh, I'm getting old. But Jessica Simpson, she looks amazing, and she plays Daisy Duke well. This sort of using your looks to get what you need kind of thing. In a woke world, though, is this now acceptable? And I just thought it's quite interesting too.
Yeah, it's very early 2000s. Very early 2000s.
It is. It is.
And not forgetting Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
When Boss Hogg came in,
that's it, Boss Hogg,
and he had the white suit on, I was like, this is Billy Bob Thornton. Am I remembering that right? I just saw him walking. And nothing against Billy Bob Thornton, but he ain't Burt Reynolds. So when I saw Burt Reynolds, I was like, Burt Reynolds, what a legend. Just great cast. It was, they, again, not going to win any awards for acting. You've got two singers, Willie Nelson and Jessica Simpson. You've got Johnny Knoxville of Jackass fame, Sean William Scott, who I don't think is a bad actor. He's not,
and he fits the role well.
But then Burt Reynolds, it was a proper actor, so but it's fun. It was a fun movie.
And you know what? You can't go wrong in car chase scenes with some AC/DC music.
Yeah,
played behind
it.
It just works.
To be honest,
works so well.
The soundtrack for this was awesome. It really was, and even like having Willie Nelson play the original theme tune at the end, I thought that was fun. It was good, and you say car chase scenes. The car chase scenes were epic in this movie. They absolutely were, and the jumps. You just forget about the jumps. The jumps. I don't know who this guy in Hazzard County is setting up these jumps. You imagine just driving around going, oh wait, there's a jump coming up. Will my Kia make it? But yeah, it's just honestly, the jumps are epic, and that's what the original show was all about. It literally was.
Hold on. They used 26 Dodge Chargers.
I can imagine. They're just the front end damage of those cars. Like it's just wishbone suspension each time. So epic, great. So these are for chips.
Chips again.
So I've seen this twice. This is your first time seeing it.
This is my first time seeing it, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Again, just another fun film. You don't have to think about it. Again, I don't have any fondness for the TV series. I vaguely remember as a kid.
Don't remember it. Eric Estrada. That's all I remember. But,
he made a cameo.
Yeah, he made another. This was the cameo I did spot. So spoiler alert, but
Michael Pena.
We should say Chips, by the way. Yeah, Michael Pena. So Michael Pena, he is. We were me and Mrs. Dangerfield. We were discussing this, and we're like, "Have you ever seen a bad Michael Pena film? Please, people, I want to know if there is one, because I've yet to see one.
I've not seen all his movies, but the ones I've seen.
No, the ones I've seen. I've seen a few.
They've all been good.
He's got a lot of range, though. That's the great thing about him. And I remember seeing him in Crash, and he was like a gangbanger. And then obviously now we've got Ant-Man, where he's super fast and like really good at explaining. And then I saw him in End of Watch with Jake Gyllenhaal. Really gritty, really serious, great movie.
Yeah, I've not seen that.
So this guy just doesn't do it. CHiPS, by the way, if you weren't aware of, stands for California Highway Patrol. The I just, because everyone would be like CHP. I guess they'd just call it CHP, which CHiPS sounded more fun. So, 2 police officers.
Oh, and also big shout out to, if I pronounce his name right, Vincent D'Onofrio. who's the bad guy in this, who's the villain.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he's also the villain in Daredevil series.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you're right. He's Kingpin.
That's it, Kingpin.
Yeah.
And he's just fantastic.
He's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that makes a good bad guy. Yeah. Basically, I don't think we need to say much about this. They're police officers. They're on bikes. They're catching a bad guy. If we say too much, we're going to give it away. And they're forming
a friendship. They're a new partnership,
it is. There's nothing new about this. It's quite cliche, but it's fun. There's some fun jokes. Michael Pena, I think, carries Dax Shepard. Yeah, he carries Dax Shepard. Dax isn't bad. He's funny. He was good in Punk'd, but yeah,
it was good. So, he played the role. He played the role great.
Just like these movies, I think like if it's hard to put VHS tapes to all of these, like I would, because I love them all. What of the three would you say was your least favorite to watch?
18.
18. Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
And
great teams in it.
I'd say Chips and Deeks are on par with each other.
Yeah, they were pretty equal. And it's funny, even though there's a 15-year gap between the two, they were. I would agree. I agree with you. I'd say Chips 4, 18 3. 18's never going to be terrible. I'm always going to love it. And it's got it has great actors in it. And there's some great scenes. The helicopter scene at the start is awesome. To be honest, it starts really well, actually. The film starts very well. It sort of just nosedives, but not in a bad way. But yeah, I would say to everyone out there, if you haven't seen them, definitely worth watching them.
Oh, absolutely.
And definitely, this was great TV. You guys just don't get good TV like this anymore. Or as a kid, anyway, should I say? As a kid. You know, we were forced to sit in front of a TV with people firing machine guns at one another. This was normal childhood entertainment. And jumping over hay bales and women walking around in bikinis. It was standard. This is the world. Now everyone is woke.
So on that note, we will catch you again next week. I love it when a video comes together.
Nice. Chips.